Sorry for the clip out. The video actually shut off, so I had to start over here. But I'm picking back up on post-formal thinking, and Labourvet Vif, VIEF is this name. Complexity of society requires thinking that is flexible and allows for interpretive processing, and reflects the fact that reasons behind events in the real world are subtle, and that there are a difference of opinions, and that is okay. So that's post-formal thinking. And information processing perspectives, better capacity, metacognition. This is knowledge that people have about their own thinking and processes. We've all met those people that will do something and continue to do it because someone before them told them or showed them, and they don't necessarily take the time to think for themselves. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Does this make sense? Is there a better way to do it? That's metacognition. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I thinking what I'm thinking? Just going through the motions, or do I actually peel back this onion and ask myself the why question? Why am I doing this? Why am I thinking this? Is there a better way to get to the end product that I'm looking for? So the questions that in metacognition that an adolescent will hopefully start to ask themselves is, what I'm thinking, does it make sense? So because my caregivers have always voted a certain way, does that make sense to me? At an adolescence, where I'm kind of questioning everything and I'm trying to find my own identity. Does this make sense to me? Or am I going to do it because someone told my parents and my parents told me, and I'm going to tell my kids, and I'm not necessarily going to think through this process? Not saying that they rebel against it, but that they just ask themselves why. This is typically happening. Now, the type of child that you have may be what this looks like. It can come across more as a rebellion, or some simple conversations around the table, just trying to get answers of, why do we believe the way we believe? Or why do I think the way that I think? Or does this make sense? So they're this also in adolescence is going to be when they're going to want to, when there's a question in class, and they may ask themselves why and what their response is. Does this make sense, what I'm about to say? And if I can't answer it, then maybe I want to peel this back and ask myself why, and get to the bottom of my thoughts and feelings. Inner perspective and self-conscious. Again, when they, like we just mentioned, when an adolescent raises their hand in class, they want to know that they know the answer. Whereas you can be a younger child and not care it as much. When you're in the stage of seeking approval from your peers and trying to form that identity, you want to be known that you have the answers, and that you have the correct answers. You don't want to be wrong, in a sense. So for metacognition, you'll know just a couple examples of questions. Does what I'm saying make sense? What I'm thinking, does it make sense? Ability to process through in trying to find your independence in your own thoughts and thinking, and introspection and self-conscious. They go hand in hand. Of when I speak in my identity, I want to know, this is what I believe. This is oftentimes as you get more closer to the voting age, you'll kind of get on soapboxes or things that these are my passions. This is what gets me up in the morning. I want to raise money for this cause, or I want to stand up for this, whatever the case may be. But this would definitely be in the stage of introspection and self-consciousness, and just more self-aware. Egocentrism. This is a huge one for adolescents. Erikson's identity versus role confusion is key. So when you talk about or think about writing your reflective paper, it will be focusing on identity versus role confusion. So for identity, if I know I am a female, I like to do certain activities. I prefer not to do other activities. I live in this neighborhood. I attend this school. I have these certain friends. I live in this town, this state, this country. I attend this church. The things that I feel I am good at. Here are my goals. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is what puts fire in my belly. This is what I go to sleep thinking about. All these things form my identity. And in a healthy adolescent, there will be, it's not perfect, obviously. And when you throw in the estrogen or testosterone, whichever the case may be, this is going to be not so perfect looking, but it's the overarching goal, is that there's a healthy identity. That's usually accompanied by caregivers or teachers or supportive personnel in the church, whatever the community, whatever the case may be, coaches, things that come around and help support a healthy identity for the adolescent. On the contrary, role confusion is going to be the adolescent that says, I don't know, I was born a male, but I feel like a female. That's a big one, that there is role confusion and identity confusion. If my dad pushes me to play sports, but I love musical instruments or I love art, that is a case where there would be role confusion. If all my siblings have played the trumpet and I just want to go out and kick a soccer ball, but yet I've had 4 siblings that have all been amazing musicians and played the trumpet, and I don't know, I feel torn. I feel like I'm supposed to do this, however, I really want to do this, and I don't get any support in kicking a soccer ball, but yet I have 3 trumpets lined up in my room on the shelf because that's what is kind of decided for me. You're going to get that little bit of a struggle in these different areas. So trying to set those healthy boundaries to let some self-exploration take place for that adolescent is going to lead to a healthy identity, according to Erikson. So quick to find fault with others, but then they tend to be right. So whether egocentrism is, if you don't agree with me, then you're wrong. If there's any problem whatsoever, it's someone else's fault. If I'm late, I'm going to blame you. If I don't have something I need or I get a bad grade, it's someone else's fault. This is all egocentric thought. Imaginary audience. This is the they. They think I'm fat. They think I'm ugly. They don't want me to come. All of the they, and who is they? It's an imaginary audience. Obviously, there are faces and names that you could put in the category of they, but the imaginary audience that when I get dropped off, everyone is going to turn and stare at me walking in the sidewalk, walking up to my locker, or when I walk into the room or the auditorium or the gym, everyone's going to stop and stare at me when really no one's paying attention. Everybody's just as self-absorbed as you are. So egocentric thinks that they are always watching me and I have to have the perfect outfit because they're watching me. I have this audience everywhere I go. I can't mess up. I can't have any faults whatsoever. I need to do everything just right. And according to who? It's they. So everyone, this is also the case of everyone is going. Everyone's doing it. No one wears that. No one goes there. No one has to do this. No one has chores. Everybody gets a debit card to their parents' account, whatever the case, but everybody gets a new car when they're 16. No, that's not the case. But if you have egocentrism and you have, in an adolescent, you have the imaginary audience,